Boom! Aha! Hey, I'm Thundercloud. How you doing? Welcome to Chillin Tuesdays here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. I'm washing away the garbage, leaving rainbows after it rains. Everyone knows Mum calls me James. Let's have some fun and linguistic games. Tonight, what have I got for you? A Judith Wright special. Yes, it's true. I do have one just for you. But first, let's begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which I transmit this broadcast, and the traditional custodians of the land right around this continent now called Australia, and their continuing connection to the land of the elders past, present, emerging, and acknowledging that sovereignty never was ceded, never has been ceded. And let's get underway with not an Australian poem, Emily Dickinson. Pick up a bit of dust. This quiet dust is gentlemen and ladies and lads and girls, and laughter and sighing and frocks and curls. This passive place, a summer's nimble mansion where bloom and bees fulfilled their oriental circuit, then ceased like these. This Quiet Dust was Gentlemen and Ladies by Emily Dickinson. An American poet, very unrecognised in her lifetime while she was living, but afterwards recognised as one of the greatest writers of American literary poetry. All right, Judith Wright, born the 31st of May 1915, passed on the 25th of June 2000. She was a prolific Australian poet, a critic, short story writer. She published more than 50 books. She was also an uncompromising environmentalist and social activist, campaigning for Aboriginal land rights, and she believed that a poet should be concerned with national and social problems. Lyrebirds. This is beautiful, actually. Over the west side of the mountain, that's lyrebird country. I could go down there they say, in the early morning, and I'd see them, I'd hear them. 10 years and I've never gone. I'll never go. I'll never see the lyrebirds, the few, the shy, the fabulous, the dying poets. I should see them if I lay there in the dew. First a single movement, then like a water drop falling, then stillness, then a brown head, brown eyes, a splendid bird bearing like a crest, the symbol of its art, the high symmetrical shape of the perfect lyre. I should hear that master practicing his art. No, I've never gone. Some things ought to be left secret, alone. Some things, birds like walking fables, ought to inhabit nowhere but the reverence of the heart. And that's from Judith Wright's series on birds, and she wrote a whole lot of poems there about birds. Well, on the weekend I got given this little book, Angus and Robertson, Australian Poets, Judith Wright, Selected Poems, Selection and Introduction by the author. And this was published, I'll just let you know about that, in 1972, so there was another 30 years of writing after this, so 30 years, 28 years of writing after this, that this version here, this is the 6th reprint. But this was first published in 1963, so there's a lot of poetry that won't be in this one. But I received this from one of my market stall holders, Julie, who found it in an op shop. And yes, I do have the Australian Poetry Library and Archive here, and if you do want to, you got some old books, you find old poetry books, especially only Australian, and you want to donate them to here, to the Australian Poetry Archive, to be preserved in perpetuity for people to peruse poetry here. It's a lot of alliteration, once again. Then that would be really appreciated, and you can mail them to 144 Bradley Street, Guyra, 2365, New South Wales. And much appreciated. Thank you in advance. Hey, and if you're on YouTube or Facebook, give it a thumbs up, or even one of those hearty things, or like keep clicking on the heart thing a lot, and leave a few comments after each poem. Tell me what poet I should do next week. If I hope I've probably got them, because I've got over 600 titles here now of Australian poetry, and I'm heading towards 1,000. So if you'd like to donate any of your own poetry books or any poetry books of other poets, much appreciated. And if you're a published poet yourself and you want to send us a copy of your book, we would certainly consider purchasing a number of copies to sell here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame, because that's what we're all about. That's what I'm all about. I have a passion for poetry and poetry preservation and promotion and nurturing, because I love poets and I love poetry. Let's get on with the show. Enough rabbiting on, we get enough of that sometimes, right? Okay, we'll start on the page known as 1, shall we? The trains. Tunnelling through the night, the trains pass in splendour of power, with a sound like thunder, shaking the orchards, waking the young from a dream, scattering like glass the old men's sleep lane. A black trail, the still bloom of the orchards. The trains go north with guns. Strange, primitive piece of flesh, the heart laid quiet, hearing their cry pierce through its thin-walled cave, recalls the forgotten tiger, and leaps awake in its old panic riot. And how shall mind be sober, since blood's red thread still binds us fast in history? Tiger, you walk through all our past and future, troubling the children's sleep, laying a reeking trail across our dream of orchards. Racing on iron errands, the trains go by, and over the white acres of our orchards hurl their wild summoning cry, their animal cry. The trains go north with guns. Yeah, a war poem. One of the things that, obviously born in 1915, she would have been around about when the war hit there, just 39, 15, just 19 or so. So, she would have been, interesting. Here's another one. One of the things that she was known for is her promotion of the Aboriginal cause, the First Nations. At the time, during the 1930s, 40s, there was, in South Australia, the Jindiwarrabak movement of sort of these settlers trying to incorporate an Indigenous nationalist sort of perspective into their poetry. But it was with good intentions to promote the Aboriginal cause that Judith Wright worked with. Anyway, this one's called Ring. The song is gone, the dance is secret with the dancers in the earth, the ritual useless and the tribal story lost in an alien tale. Only the grass stands up to mark the dancing ring, the apple gums, posture and mime a past corroboree, murmur a broken chant. The hunter is gone, the spear is splintered underground, the painted bodies a dream, the world breathed, sleeping and forgot, the nomad feet are still. Only the rider's heart halts at a sightless shadow, an unsaid word that fastens in the blood, the ancient curse, the fear as old as Cain. Trapped dingo. So here, twisted in steel and spoiled with red, your sunlight hide, smelling of death and fear, they crushed out of your throat the terrible song. You sang in the dark ranges, with what crying? You mourned him, the drinker of blood, the swift death bringer, who ran with you many a night, and the night was long. I heard you, desperate poet. Did you hear my silent voice take up the cry, replying, Achilles is overcome, and Hector dead, and clay stops many a warrior's mouth. Wild singer, voice from the hills and the river drunken with rain, for your lament the long night was too brief, hurling your woes at the moon, that old cleaned bone, till the white shorn mobs of stars on the hill of the sky huddled and trembled. You told him, the rebel one, insane Andromache, pacing your towers alone, death ends the verse you chanted. Here you lie, the lover, the maker of edges, is slain and veiled with blood her body's stealthy sun. So they're the first three poems from the book here. I'm going to move forward now to some others that I've selected further in the book. And I'll have a seat as well. Put the camera down so we're more intimate. Hey, how's that? Better? More fun, hey? Closer. All right. The dark gift. The flower begins in the dark, where life is not. Death has a word to speak, and the flower begins. How small, how closely bound in nothing's net. The word waits in the ground, for the cloak earth spins. The root goes down in the night, and from night's mud, the unmade, inchoate, starts to shape and rise. The blind, the upward hand clenches its bud. What message does death send from the grave where he lies? Open, green hand, and give the dark gift you hold. O wild, mysterious gold, O act of passionate love. The cedars. The dried body of winter is hard to kill. Frost crumbles the dead bracken, greys the old grass, and the great hemisphere of air goes flying, barren and cold, from desert or polar seas, tattering fern and leaf by the sunken pool. The sullen Sodom apple grips his scarlet fruit. Spring returner, knocker at the iron gates. Why should you return? None wish to live again, locked in our mourning, in our sluggish age. We stand and think of past springs, of deceits not yet forgotten. Then we answered you in youth and joy. We threw open our strongholds and hang our walls with flowers. Do not ask us to answer again. And then we answered. For it is anguish to be reborn, and every return of the overmastering season, to shed our lives in pain, to waken in the cold, to become naked, while with unbearable effort we make way for the new sap that burns along old channels, while out of our life's substance, the inmost of our being, form those brief flowers, those sacrifices soon falling, which spring the returner demands, and demands forever. Easier, far easier, to stand with downturned eyes and hands hanging, to let age and mourning cover us with their dark rest, heavy like death, like the ground from which we issued and towards which we crumble. Easier to be one with the impotent body of winter and let our old leaves rattle on the wind's currents, to stand like the wrung trees whose boughs no longer murmur their foolish answers to spring, whose blossoms now are the only lasting flowers, the creeping lichens of death. Spring, impatient, thunderer at the doors of iron, we have no songs left. Let our boughs be silent. Hold back your fires that would seat us into flower again. And your insistent bees, the messengers of generation. Our bodies are as old as winter and would remain in winter. So the old trees plead, clinging to the edge of darkness. But round their roots, the mint bush makes its buds ready. And the snake in hiding feels the sunlight's finger. The snake, the fang of summer, beauty's double meaning, shifts his slow coils and feels his springtime hunger. The cedars, that is. Alright, and now I'm going to jump forward a little bit further to... I was going to do this one, but I'm not actually. I'll just change my mind. Nameless flower, that's the next one I've got. 3 white petals float above the green. You cannot think they spring from it till fine stems seen so separated from each, and each so pure. Yet at the centre here they touch and form a flower. Flakes that drop at the flight of a bird and have no name. I'll set a word upon a word to be your home. Up from the darkness and jungle floor, you have looked long. Now I come to lock you here in a white song. Word and word are chosen and met. Flower, come in. But before the trap is set, the prey is gone. The words are white as a stone is white, carved for a grave. But the flower blooms in immortal light, being now, being love. Next one, that was called Nameless Flower. Next one is Breath. I turn to the dark window. Outside were stars and frost. My breath went out to the night, shaped like a cloud or a mist, small and soulless ghost. What was it my heart meant, that watching the way you went, it moved so under my breast? Breath. Gum trees stripping. Say, the need's born within the tree and waits a trigger set for light. Say, sap is tidal like the sea and rises with the solstice heat. But wisdom shells the words away to watch this fountain slowed in air, where sun joins earth to watch the place at which these silent rituals are. Words are not meaning for a tree, so it's truer not to say. These rags look like humility, or this year's wreck of last year's love, or wounds ripped by the summer's claw. If it is possible to be wise, here wisdom lies outside the word, in the earlier answer of the eyes. Wisdom can see the red, the rose, the stained and sculptured curve of grey, the charcoal scars of fire and sea around that living tower of tree, the hermit tatters of old bark split down and stripped to end the season, and can be quiet and not look for reasons past the edge of reason. A very profound, very lovely poet. All right, now I've got marked here 4 poems from Songs of a Journey, which was one of her books. Brigalow Country. When the metal blue moon plays tunes on the hut roof, and the long slope darkens with its brigalow tribe, Then Margery dances, awkward as an emu, dances for the useless coin of the moon. Haunted and alone with the tribe of the brigalows, their steel-coloured leaves as curved as a skinning knife, her sidelong eye as queer as the moonlight, Margery dances to the singing of the dingoes. Living lost and lonely with the tribe of the brigalows, don't want to say but never can go, never get no money for when I go hungry, never get no kisses for when I feel sad, rooted like the brigalows until I'm dead. When the bright tin moon plays tunes on the hut roof, Margery dances in her long pale hair, and the tribe of the brigalows drops their shadows like still black water and watch her there. Poem number 2 from Songs of a Journey, Night. The contours of night are like the contours of this rock, and worn by light as by water. The pin-sharp stars drag their thin, bright trails across it. The moon's pale creek and the floods of the starlight erode it, and round its secret flanks the currents of the living, plant, beast, man and God, swirl their phosphorescence. Night is what remains. When the equation is finished, night is the earth's dream that the sun is dead. Night is man's dream that he has invented God. The dream of before creation, the dream of falling. Night blocks our way, saying, I at least am real. The contours of night are like the contours of this rock. Okay, the next one, cane fields, number 3. Cane fields. The coloured girl leans on the bridge, folding her sorrow into her breast. Her face is dark and downward mirror where her eyes look and are lost. The old land is marshalled under the heavy regiment of green cane, but by the lagoon the paper barks unroll their blank, tattered parchment, waiting for some unknown inscription which love might make in ink dark water. And in that water the great lily sets her perfect dark blue petals in their inherited order of prayer. Around that blazing throne, her centre, there time shall meet eternity and their worship find its answer. All right, number 4. This is called Sea Beach. Sea Beach. Mountain, wall and tree bear witness against our lives, being scrawled with obsolete slogans initialed by clumsy knives. No one has marked the sea. Below high tide you can stand as though you stood in the sky. No sign on the clean sand will say to remember you by. See, anonymous pilgrim made free of time and place from the unhistoried poles and the shores of Asia and Greece. You carry no memory, you bear no symbol or gift, except the unshaped bone, the silver splinter of raft. And though you beckon and play, we will not stay here long. We will snatch back the child who trusts too far to your song. The sea cleans everything, a sailor said to me, and those white empty shells come out of the scour of the sea. Well, Judith Wright was from this area here, Armidale, not Guyra, but just down the hill a bit. But she also spent time up there in Queensland, which is why they've got the Judith Wright Centre there in Fortitude Valley. So the next one is called Kalula. Now Kalula is it's the national park north of Noosa, south of Rainbow Beach up that way, and Kagari, which is the original name that Fraser Island's been changed back to. And it's an absolutely magnificently beautiful place. It's all sand dunes and tea tree and Banksia, and it's like near Tiwa, Noosa or Noosa anyway, Kalula National Park. At Kalula. The blue crane fishing in Kalula's twilight has fished there longer than our centuries. He is the certain heir of lake and evening, and he will wear their colour till he dies. But I'm a stranger, come of a conquering people. I cannot share his calm, who watch his lake, being unloved by all my eyes delight in, and made uneasy for an old murder's sake. The dark-skinned people who once named Kalula knew that no land is lost or won by wars, for earth is spirit, the invader's feet will tangle in nets there, and his blood be thinned by fears. Riding at noon and 90 years ago, my grandfather was beckoned by a ghost, a black accoutred warrior armed for fighting, who sank into bare plain and now into time past. White shores of sand, plumed reed and paper bark, clear heavenly levels frequented by crane and swan. I know that we are justified only by love, but oppressed by arrogant guilt, have room for none. And walking on clean sand among the prints of bird and animal, I'm challenged by a driftwood spear, thrust from the water, and like my grandfather, must quiet a heart accused by its own fear. So yeah, Judith Wright, here we go. The Wildflower Plain. The angry granite, the hungry range, must crumble away, must melt and change. Forget the single iron word that no voice spoke when no ear heard, and learn this thorny, delicate, tender speech of the flower, at last surrender, this various speech that covers over the gravel plain like the words of a lover. Blue orchard gentle as skies seen early, blown purple iris so quick to wither, tea tree falling on water lily, heath beronia many another, can but spring where rock makes way let rock be humble, let it decay. Let time's old anger become new earth, to sign to the heart the truth of death. Yeah. Okay. Now some of her bird ones. Black cockatoos. Each certain kind of weather or light has its own creatures. Somewhere else they wait as though they but inhabited heat or cold, twilight or dawn, and knew no other state. Then at the time they come, timid or bold, so when the long drought winds, sandpaper harsh, were still and the air changed and the clouds came and other birds were quite in prayer or fear, they knew their hour before the first far flash lit up, or the first thunder spoke its name. In heavy flight they came, till I could hear the wild black cockatoos tossed on the crest of their high trees, crying the world's unrest. Yes. Lovely, because I'm not sure if you know, but most people know they should, and if they don't, they should, because they need to pay attention to nature. When the black cockatoos are flying, it means that there's going to be a storm quite often. Particularly in northern New South Wales, southeast Queensland, they say. All right. Peacock. Oh well. Shame on the alderman who locked the peacock in a dirty cage. His blue and copper sheens are mocked by habit, hopelessness and age. The wary Sunday families along their gravelled paths repeat the patterns of monotonies that he treads out with restless feet. And yet the peacock shines alone as if one metal feather fall, another grows where what was grown love clothes him still in spite of all. How pure the hidden spring must rise that time and custom cannot stain. It speaks its joy again, perhaps the alderman is wise. Extinct birds. Charles Harper, in his journals long ago, written in hope and love and never printed, recorded the birds of his time's forest, birds long vanished with the fallen forest, described in copper plate on unread pages. The scarlet satin bird, swung like a lamp in berries, he watched in love and then in hope described it. There was a bird, blue, small, spangled like dew, all now are vanished with the fallen forest, and he, unloved, past hope, was buried. Who helped with proud stained hands to fell the forest and set those birds in love on unread pages, and yet thought himself immortal, being a poet? And he is not immortal where I found him, in love and hope, along his careful pages. The poet vanished in the vanished forest, among his highly, brightly tinted, extinct birds. Oh, yeah. How can I can't. I did this first. Lyrebirds, I like it, but I like it. I want to do it again. No, you can't do it again. Oh, this one. Rainbow bird. The rainbow bird. Ooh. How interesting. All right. The rainbow bird. Once, in a winter killing as its war, and settled in the heart as shape as sleep, under a trellised rose
hook-thorned and bare, that twinned its whips and flogged the cruel air. The rainbow bird lay fallen at my feet. Yes, fallen. Fallen like the spring's delight, that bird that turned too late to find the spring. The cold had struck him, spinning from its height. His cobweb plumes, his breast too neat and slight to beat that wind back, his twisted wing. And I stood looking, all of me was chilled. My face was silent as a mask of wood, and I had thought my very own core was killed. But he in his soft colours lay more cold, even than my heart. He met me like a word. I needed pity, love, the rainbow bird. Nice. Okay. Brush turkey, okay. Right to the edge of his forest, the tourists come. He learns the scavenger's habits with scrap and crumb. His forest front he lives on what the moment gives, pretends in mockery to beg our charity. Cunning and shy one must be to snatch one's bread from oafs whose hands are quicker with stones instead. He apes the backyard bird, half proud and half absurd. Sheltered by his quick wit, he sees and takes his bit. Ash black, wattles of scarlet, and careful eye, he hoaxes the ape, the ogre with mimicry. Scornfully he will eat thrown crust and broken meat, till suddenly, see, oh see, the turkey's in the tree. The backyard bird is stupid, he trusts and takes, but this one's wiles are wary to guard against the axe. Escaping neat and pat into his habitat, charred log and shade and stone, accept him, he's gone. And here's a bird, the poet, many ponder over, whose ancient forest meanings no longer grant him cover, who circumspect yet proud, like yet unlike the crowd, must cheat in childhood. It must cheat its chucklehead to throw not stones but bread. All right, Judith Wright poetry. Okay, I'm going to go right to the very back here. Last two. Moth. The great moth, winged with many eyes, frets from his breast its silver dust, caught in the net my lamp has cast. He beats and circles till he dies. His life was set on some true path until his kind inhabited night betrayed him to a craze of light, light meaningless and cold like death. Or so I said, who watched him parch upon his sterile, radiant heaven, a love unjoined, a gift ungiven, strange failings in the eternal search. And so turned back my pen to prayer, that might be language for a moth. Oh, overcome me, power and truth. Transmute my ignorant, burn it bare, so that against your flame, not I, but all that is not you may die. So there you go. All right, well that's Judith Wright. I need another drink of water, and then I might wrap up with a couple. of Thundercloud's poems. Hey, don't forget to give this a like and a thumbs up and a heart thingy too, please, and share it. Just click on the share button now. Share it to Facebook, share it to LinkedIn, share it to wherever. Just share it, because sharing's good and people like to learn poetry, I know, because I'm learning to like it and liking it, loving it. I've always loved it. Well, not really. Okay, poetry of Thundercloud. Let's see if we can find some of Thundercloud stuff tonight, hey? Oh, Mr. Thundercloud, what have you been up to? Oh, okay, here we go. It's a yin-yang one. Yang, bang! Masculine thang. Pointed, intrusive, penetrating. Yin, sing, a feminine thing. Accepted, expansive, embracing. That's it. Yeah. Yang, bang! Oh, here we go. Ooh, yeah, okay. Language warning, yes. Okay, language warning. This has got the word, the F word. Okay, you've been warned. If you don't like that word, turn off, go somewhere else. I'm going to say the word's fuck. Okay. All right. This is called Kick in the Guts. Shit happens. Man up. Don't be a weak little fuck up. Someone needs to tell you, grief doesn't last forever. Shit happens. Man up. Don't be a weak little fuck up. Take responsibility for your actions. Take responsibility for your feelings. Shit happens. Man up. Being a bitch slap pussy sucks. Compromise yourself and be resentful, or true to yourself, self-righteous and grateful. Shit happens. Man up. No one likes a whinger. They suck. Pull your big boy undies up, build a bridge, get over it, eat cement, harden up. Shit happens, man up, because you're a weak, entitled fuck. To grow, learn and change, sometimes we get kicked in the guts. So shit happens, man up, bite your tongue and shut the fuck up. Okay? That's, yeah. All right. Next one. Now, this is a very quick one. It's quatrain, that means 4 lines. And, okay, look, there you go. There's a handful of strawberries. Okay, I grew them. 2 years ago, I planted these. And now I've got a handful of ripe strawberries. They're small, but they are super tasty. But the best is grown in patience. Never hasty. Yeah, that's right. Everything, just chill, go with the flow, don't rush it. It'll be tasty. Alrighty-o. Okay, here we go. Oh, okay, this was an interesting one. I don't know why I... but it's about choices. I don't know what I'd call it all. I could just exist, or I could live. I can hold a grudge, or I can forgive. I could fuck a dog, or have self-respect and love. I could start a fight, or I can be a peace dove. I could compromise myself and be like everybody else, eat shit, destroy my health, or treat my health as my wealth. I can hold rigid beliefs or let go of loss and grief. I can stand my ground like a tree or be blown like a leaf. I could let the past affect or my emotions I direct. I'm the actor in my life and I can self-correct. I could insist I'm right, or I can learn and listen. I could tell the truth or lie, and in pockets I'd be pissing. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I called it, or I haven't. Here we go. I am that I am. It is what it is. That's it. It is what it is. Oh, here we go. 3 days ago. Zen cycles. Intention requires effort and action for actualization. Purpose, dedication, focus, reminder of intention, plans, reaction, habituation, mindfulness. Be becomes do becomes be becomes do. Intention without action was only a dream. Was going to, never did. A dream unenacted is hid. Here we go. Small town, big egos, like a lame carrot as a giant snowman's nose. And we must be nearly there. Oh, here we go. No, I've still got more here. I have still written. All right. I haven't got a real name for this one. I think of a name for this poem. I don't know. Being I. Myself with me. Living my life with authenticity. I will be all that I will be, loving peaceful, creatively, focused on my own self-mastery. There will be times I won't be my best. I must clean up what I've missed. Learn from and rise to every test. Lead by example for the rest. Clean and feather my own nest, conquer mountains on my quest, from the east to the west, constructive and destructiveness, be of assistance and not a pest. Ignite my inner fire, always aspire to lift myself higher, never retire, be one to inspire, be a high flyer. I am myself and me, I am all that I be, living, loving, authentic, truthfully, inspirationally, synchronistically, intuitively, I, myself, and me am that I be. That's right, yeah. Here we go. Oh, this one's about fitting in. You don't fit in, and that's fine. Being different and true to yourself is divine, because it matters not what detractors say if you're being yourself and going your own way. And if you're following your true path, you'll be the one to have the last laugh. You'll succeed if you're true to yourself and don't compromise to be like everybody else. And in the quantum field of connected oneness, I write, and then you read or listen to this. Drinking water makes us piss. A clownfish is not in a circus, but all is in connectedness. That's right. Okay, well, I'm Thundercloud here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame, washing away the garbage, leaving rainbows after rains. I'm out of here for Chillin Tuesday. I'll be back tomorrow night with the crew. Not all the crew, because I believe Ashley, he's gone up to Mullumbimby, Murwillumbah, or Goonellabah, where his place is. And Steve will be away, but Hope and even Gabriel might be away. But I'll tell you what, Gladys will be here, I'll be here, and whoever else will be here, and that will be awesome. Yes, it will be. Thank you very much for joining us. Make sure you give it a thumbs up, a heart thing, leave a comment, subscribe, and even click on the bell thing for notifications so you know when the next video is coming out here on Facebook or on YouTube. Hey, lots of love. I'm Thundercloud, washing away the garbage, leaving rainbows after rains. Yeah, we'll see you later. Bye.